Everyone, hello from Myrtle Beach. I hope you are doing well. Hope you enjoyed your first week back at school. I was on the beach all week. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. I was on the beach all week, but I have been planning and getting ready for the new school year and then also planning our teacher retreat that is this weekend, my favorite time of the year where we get to talk about meeting the needs of our students and then also to be in community with each other since we rarely get to see each other as a faculty. And so very excited about that. We also have our recital tomorrow, our summer recital. And so it'll be good to hear you guys play. And I'm always amazed by the students who are on the recital because you are not getting that regular lesson in the summer. It's a little bit more loosey-goosey. And so you are taking a brave chance and I love it. I think it's great. So I look forward to hearing you. Our new semester, the main semester of the school year, is coming up the week of September 8th. And so if you are interested in lessons at the 9204 Falls of the News Suite 110 location, or if you're interested with our Wade Avenue location with piano lessons, we would love to speak to you. Our email is hello@raleigh.schoolofmusic.com. The best way to inquire is to fill out the info request form and I will reach out to you so we can schedule a time for you to come in. We can talk. All right, I wanted to talk a little bit more about loneliness today because boy, am I feeling, oh my gosh. Um, Although, as I learn more and more from my friends with families, that maybe they're not feeling the exact same way, especially not this week, because you don't have time to be lonely because you are doing everything and keeping all the balls in the air and not letting them fall. So, if you aren't feeling this right now, disregard this video. But if there's any part of you that feels at least a little bit like this, then, please stay tuned because I think I figured some stuff out here. So I have felt lonely for a while, a while, and it's not something that I like to admit. I feel like it's pretty vulnerable. I feel like it's something that a society doesn't like to hear. I think that we are, yeah, I think it's such a tough issue that we don't want to deal with it, especially other people's loneliness. I think that makes us feel like we should be responsible for other people, and I do think that there is a level of responsibility that we should all have, but it's tough. It's not an easy answer. And I think we don't want to be used by other people. And so I think I see a lot of different sides to this, but I think that it is an epidemic. And I think it got worse because of COVID and it got worse because of technology. And it is a huge problem. I think it's one of the biggest reasons that we have mental health issues going on. And I think that loneliness is not always so obvious. I think that we see a certain type of person that's lonely and a certain age group and all of that. And I just don't think that's true. I think that there's a lot of us that are lonely out there and we just don't want to admit that. We try to fill our schedule. And even if we're around people, even if we're doing other things and filling up and working ourselves to death, I know for me, I still feel lonely. Like it doesn't matter. I've now done enough experimenting this past year that it's not about what I do, not how much therapy I have, not how much self-help stuff I'm doing, how many different extracurricular activities I'm doing, how much I'm working at the school, how much I'm um, living with my parents. Like I could just go on and on. It doesn't seem to change anything. And so, and then hearing from my friend who has a family and, doing all this stuff and like the things that she does, I think it's a really hard thing to deal with. And I think that it worries people. And I think that it can have such a negative connotation, but I think we all have felt it. I think it's a universal feeling. It is just a matter of whether or not you're willing to admit that or not. And I don't think it's even solved. And I've talked about this before with music. I don't think I mean, I've been doing music my whole life. Like, I don't think it's solved with that. I think that that can be a part of the equation. I think all of these things that I've mentioned, like mental health, doing things, signing up for things, all that stuff all helps, but it doesn't really solve the problem. And again, I don't necessarily know that there is something that one can do to solve the problem. I think it's I'm even doing with my therapist now, we're doing internal family systems stuff. And so talking about how we are made up of parts and we are all part of a system and all the things, the different ways we behave are different parts and they solve different purposes and stuff. And that coming to find out from my therapist that it's not necessarily when you're talking to your parts and cluing yourself in on your system and why things do things, that it doesn't necessarily solve the issue either. It's just more of like, oh yeah, that's what this is. Oh yeah, that's what this is. It's not solving it. And so I think that this loneliness epidemic is not going to be easily, it's not going to easily be stopped, but I don't think it is the best thing to ignore it, to ignore the people that are wanting to co- connect. I think it's staying open and staying and not being, I think we're just a society so quick to push people out of our lives to the moment we feel like it's not 50-50, it's not like exactly right. If we're not all getting everything that we need in one moment, that is, we have to just be self-sufficient and cut them out. And I've done that. Gosh, I used to make the rounds of like cutting this person, this person, this person, this person out of my life because they weren't. And it's just, it didn't solve my problems. I have, like I said, I have experimented. I have done a bunch of different things and it's just not solving issue. And so I don't know why I'm coming on here because I don't really have an answer for this. I just think I recognize you. Um, and I understand. And I don't think again it's this one certain group, these they talk about incels and they talk about all this different, no, it's not just them. It is all we are all feeling it. And if you are not feeling it, then maybe you're just not tuned in. I think the more aware you get of yourself and what's actually going on, the more isolated you can possibly feel. The more I learn, the more lonely I feel. Isn't that interesting? But I also know deep within me, somewhere, don't know why, don't have any proof of this. The more that I become aware, the more that I allow myself to feel whatever it is that I'm feeling, I just know that there is an other side to this. So I've been crying this week. I am sitting here smiling right now, and there are definitely some good times and stuff, but I've been really, really sad, really, really sad. And I think the only way through pain is not to ignore it, to not pretend like it's there, to judge it, to say something that's wrong with me, to not let it affect my worth or let it affect like any of that. It's just pain. It's just pain. Being lonely is painful. It is. I've had appendicitis. I know what pain feels like. I've had miscarriages. I know what that feels like. This is worse. It is this just gnawing, just like this. Yeah. And it's just this hopelessness sometimes. And it feels like that nothing's ever going to change. And that, um, but I would rather feel this loneliness with people. When I was first divorced, gosh, it's I think almost 5 years now, I would go months from hearing from anybody. I used to like see how long I could go. And there's still some of that now. And again, the people in my life who I love, who are great, they're just busy. It's not that they're doing anything on purpose or, anything like that. It's just, I don't know. I think of, somebody like me, had I been back in Jane Austen's time in the 18th or 19th centuries, I would have been called the crazy cat lady, right? Or I would have been like the the auntie or whatever it is. I would be the one caring for the ailing people, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So it's kind of funny, but I just in these stories, in these novels that you read about, and these types of characters, they kind of just are in the background. They just kind of slip away. And I think that when you get to a certain place, like that's what happens. When things are tough, when you feel pain, it's like you're expected to deal with it on your own. Even in therapy, that's what we're taught. Like we're taught, like and we're taught how that we have to deal with things on our own. That it's nobody else's responsibility, and I just don't buy it. Yes, yes, there are things that you should be able to do on your own. I know I've been doing them. I've been doing them for a long time. I've been doing them for a long time. Is this for those of us who are lonely, who there's no end in sight? Is this what we learn to live with? That it's just something that we live with. I mean, I'm a religious person. I've been going to church for years. I feel no less lonely. I mean, I just could go through all the different things that people always say. Oh, well, this is what you could do. You could try this. You could try this. I've tried so many different things. I don't think it's something that's going away, but I know deep down inside of me that if I could just get through this pain, that there would be something on the other side. I don't know why I know that. I don't know why. I just know that. I don't see anybody around me. No offense to the people around me. I don't see anybody else who has been able to deal with their loneliness. I think it's a universal, and we are all not trying to deal with it. And we don't like pain, and we don't like suffering. And so we are going to avoid it at all costs. But something within me just knows there's something else. I don't know why. I'm like, there is this. I was just looking at my notes. There was this thing I talked about in here like a year ago, at least, about Laura St. John's program and how she was all about manifesting. And she asked us for one of the lessons to write a letter as our 100-year-old self. Like, what would we say? What are the things that would thanking ourselves for stuff that we have done in our lives that brings us that gentle smile, that peaceful smile. And for so long, the top of my list was to be a mom, to be in a family, and that's not really turning out the way that I thought. And so and then the second thing was also about with the music school, doing changing people's lives at the music school. And so that that's not done, but I'm at a place now where it's like, I have no idea now. I have no idea what I would look back on right now and say, it made all of this worth it, all of this pain. I don't know. I guess the point of this is to let people know, if you're watching this at all, like you're not alone. Even those of us who hide it sometimes, like I haven't hid it very well as of late, but for a long time I hid it, that you're not alone, that I see you, I understand you more than you know, and that there's not something wrong with you, and that everybody goes through this. Some people just are more aware of it than others. And it is not wrong to want and try to solve this and to try different things. And but also not to beat yourself up if you don't have the answers and nobody seems to have the answers around you, that it's something that just might go unanswered. But if you feel it too, if you just like feel this like inner feeling that it's just like, if I can just get to the other side of this, I really allow myself to feel this, this pain and all the stuff that it brings up, past and present and all of that, to feel it. I don't know how I know that then you actually get to deal with it and actually get to the other side. Sometimes it's hard to believe that. Sometimes it feels like this is just going to be stuck like this forever. And then you think, oh, well, I should be on medicine, but then it doesn't deal with the root and it just deals with the symptoms. And I don't know. I don't know. But I see people like my friend, and she seems really, really happy right now. She has a beautiful child and just like a wonderful life, but where she found her 100-year-old self that she would write letters is not even like, yes, she totally 100% is like a wonderful mom, but through work, she works all the time and she loves it. She loves it. I don't want to be defined by my job. I don't want to be defined by my job. I don't, I want to be defined by a bunch of different things. You gotta, you like, there's not one rule for everyone that works. It's just, we're all different. We all need different things. Some of us have felt like for years we needed too much. I mean, maybe that's where my loneliness is coming from. It's because I thought for a long time that I needed too much. I expected too much. Can you change who you are, though? I don't know. Interesting thought to think about. I look forward to seeing you guys perform. I say music is not the answer to curing loneliness, but it sure helps. It helps to be heard when you don't feel heard, to be seen when you don't feel seen, to have the care and consideration and having someone in your corner, like believing in you. It's helpful. It's definitely helpful. On that note, talk to you soon. Bye.